There's a rule we're taught, Ein mukdam u'meuchar b'Torah, and it means that events in the Torah and commandments in the Torah are not necessarily chronologically documented. It's possible to learn about one thing in one chapter, and in the next chapter learn about something that may have actually happened before. Ein mukdam u'meuchar b'Torah. Things don't necessarily happen in that order. And yet, nothing is more chronological than this week's Parsha. In fact, the entire name of this week's Parsha is Achrei mot, after the death. And that is because God speaks to Moses and he tells him, Daber Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe Achrei mot shnei bnei Aharon. God speaks to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aharon. And he tells him, teach Aharon about how to do the service of Yom Kippur. And the service of Yom Kippur is entirely in the shadow of the tragic event of the death of Aaron's two children. And I must say, as a rabbi, on a personal note, I've paid many Shiva calls, and yet nothing compares to the pain of paying a Shiva call to someone who lost their own child. There are no words that can bring comfort. There's no message that can resonate with parents who lost their child. And so the entire Parsha, no matter what Moses tells Aaron, is with the foreshadow of Achrei mot shnei bnei Aharon. It's after the death of the two sons of Aharon, and that's always going to be there with Aharon. And it's interesting that this is the story of Yom Kippur, because on Yom Kippur, also, when we sin, there's something in us that feels that it died. We feel something, that a part of us that's been lost. And so Yom Kippur is really a time of renewal. Does it mean we will be 100% exactly the same as we were before the loss? Not necessarily, but it's a way to start things afresh. The rabbis say there were no better days for the Jewish people than Tu B'Av, the holiday of love, when Jewish people would come together, young people would meet each other and build homes. And Yom Kippur is also a day of great festivity, because even though it's a day of loss and pain, it's also a day of starting afresh. So may this lesson of Achrei mot teach us the importance of empathy to those who experience loss, the recognition that when we sin, we also feel a sense of loss, and the ability to create renewal and, despite the pains of the past, be able to refresh and start anew again. Shabbat Shalom.